Hey, I'm Todd Edwards. You're in my hometown of Bloomfield, New Jersey, and this is where I have my home studio. Come on in. Here we are. This is my studio, and by the way, I've had this studio pretty much the same way set up for the last 17 years. If you look over here, this is the newest portion of my setup with just a laptop used for Ableton. Most people use it for DJing, but it's great for production as well, especially if you're going on the road. The rest of the studio consists of my Kurzweil PC88. We've been married for the last 17 years. She's great to me. This controls every piece of rack mount module that I have in the room and all the other keyboards. You're looking at two monitors right here that are showing Digital Performer. A lot of people have switched to Logic. I've been with Digital Performer since 2000. Right here we have the Yamaha MG24. This piece I've had very long. It's the Roland 2080. We have the EMU B3, the Vintage Pro by EMU, the MoFat. If you go through these sounds, you would hear a lot of sounds used in R&B from the 90s and the early 2000s. The Roland VP9000, it was very kind of state-of-the-art at the time. What you do is you sample into it and you can actually time compress and expand it without any degradation of the sample. You can do that with a lot of plugins these days, but it's nice to be able to play with the knobs and do it yourself instead of just using a mouse and a click. We have the Sonic ASR10, the Yamaha Motif, the EMU XL lead. Now we come to the most important piece in the studio. This is the workhorse in the whole studio. It's the Akai S6000 sampler. Fantastic. I built library after library for all my tracks. It has a detachable faceplate. I've done so many of my tracks using this. This is the Sonic EPS. This is a disc, kids. This is what they used to look like before you were able to put it on a jump drive or a hard disk. So you would have to pop this in, turn on the sampler, and it would boot up the operating system. Sometimes it didn't. You'd have to keep jump starting it like an old 1970 Camaro or something. From this, I got remixes from people like Saint Germain, which allowed me to do more extensive work, and I was able to build up the studio. The other piece that's very dear to me and has the longest history with me is the Roland Juno 106. This piece became the cornerstone of most of my tracks that I'm known for because I used to use a really deep square bass line, and it's hard to get your hands on this, so I'm proud to say that it's part of my lineup. Some of you younger producers might recognize the Korg Microkorg. My name is Todd Edwards. Yeah. Definitely worth investing in. First off, we're going to start with just the drum pattern. So now we have a basic drum pattern going. What I'm going to do now is go through some samples, and I'm going to show you how I sample. I'm going to add a bass line now. We're going to go to the Juno 106 and play around with that. All right, we're going to try this because I'm happy with the way this sounds for the track that we're doing. Okay, I'm happy with the way that's played. Ignorance mixed with talent definitely will come up with some great ideas. However, I do believe that you should learn everything you can about music. So if you don't really know about music theory or anything, one of the best things to do, go out and get yourself a simple piano teaching book so you can learn a little bit of theory. It's great to have gear. It's great to buy, laptops, software, plugins. Just don't let the technology take reign over the actual making of music. I think that people will remember something more musical than something more technical in the long run, and you want your music to last. I've found that, my longevity comes from putting heart into the music, and technology's a second place to that, so. All right, not bad for an hour's worth of work if I do say so myself.